That's a trigger point. That's a total. A trigger point in the wrist extensors. A trigger point in the wrist extensors. Now, what do we want to do with the trigger points?
Stabilize.
We want to stabilize it. We want to stabilize it. Now, look at the movement of my wrist. Forearm, wrist extensors. Look at the movement of my wrist. Full wrist extension puts the muscle in a fully shortened position. Correct? If I'm going to put my wrist in the neutral position, more or less, my wrist extensors are in the resting position. If I'm going to put my wrist in a flexed position, then my wrist extensors are in the
Stretched.
lengthened position. They are in the lengthened position. Now, BMT1 wants to stabilize those trigger points in those positions so that when the patient moves the wrist or makes a grip, there is no pain in the wrist. BMT is best applied if you want your patient to do gripping exercises. Gripping exercises. Alright? If it's the first time for you to patient to be taped using BMT, then ask your patient to just apply the tape for 1 to 2 hours, not more than that. Why? Again, because BMT1 is a very powerful taping technique that it can blister your patient's skin. Alright? But you'll get to appreciate that during the movement itself, during the time that the patient is gripping, there is a very much decrease in pain. Does that make sense? So how about in the house? What are we going to ask your patient to do? You ask somebody to tape the patient. Can that helper learn how to tape it? How to do the BMT1? Yes, we can. Because there is such a thing, if there is an exercise in the clinic, there's also an exercise at home. If there's a taping technique in the clinic for BMT, there's also BMT home exercise program. A taping technique that can be quickly learned by the helpers of your patient. Does that make sense? Alright, now watch this. Can you move down a bit? Thank you, Russell. Thank you very much. Alright, now I want to put the wrist extensors in the shortened position. So I'll ask Russell, can you make a fist? Make a grip and move your wrist extension. Now that shortens her muscle, correct? Now I'll ask Russell to match my resistance. My resistance would put her wrist towards flexion. Match my resistance. I'm using your PNF, the contract relax technique. And relax. Now, I know that you're probably thinking, but that's lateral epicondylitis. Your patient, my patient won't be able to do that maximal grip. That's the time we're in. You just have to soften the resistance. Probably 20 to 30% of the muscle strength. Why is it important to recruit the muscles? Because you want to fatigue it. You want to tire it. You want to silence the muscle. Does that make sense? Alright, so let's say match my resistance. Oh, that's painful. Back off a bit. Now maintain that. Is that painful? And the patient tells me, no, it's not. Hold that for 7 seconds. You can actually hold the patient's resistance for 6 to 10 seconds. Alright? I love 7 and 8, so 7 seconds hold, or 8 seconds hold. Or lucky number 9, 9 seconds hold. So long as it's in between 6 to 10 seconds hold. And relax. That's number 1. I'll ask the patient to do that for 3 times. And match my resistance. 1 to 7. And relax. Match my resistance. And relax. Now, hold that position for me. Hold it right there. I'll use the hypoallergenic tape first. Of course, this is the primitive way of doing it. The tape is just laid on the patient's skin with no tension at all. No tension at all. Because it's just hypoallergenic. But with the BMT1 tape, which will come out in the market in a month or 2 months' time, you don't need 2 separate tapes. You will just be using one tape, which is hypoallergenic and adhesive at the same time. Now, I'm going to use this stickier tape. This is the area where I felt the trigger point. Hold that please. The muscle is still in the shortened position. The muscle is still in the shortened position. This is the area where the trigger point is. I'll take medial to that area. I'll create a soft fold over that area. That's it. Now, my tape is a little bit long. Whoops. This is one thing hard with leukoplast. Okay. Let me do that again. Here, create a very soft fold. Actually, the hypoallergenic tape will create that for you. Alright? In a shortened position. And this, here, thereby closing the trigger point area. Now, she's in this position, and then, oops, wait. I want to stabilize the tape, the leukoplast tape. I'll cover it with a hypoallergenic tape. And then after that, I'm going to flex her wrist. And during the time that I'm flexing her wrist, I am specially attuned to whether she will have pain or not. Why is it important to move the wrist into flexion? Because that's the time wherein you might activate the trigger point. Remember, when the wrist is moving, the trigger point inside the muscle will become activated. And these strips of tape will hold that trigger point inside the muscle. Silent it a bit, or silence it a bit. Alright, so I can actually do 1, 2, and 3. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Those are the first 2 strips of tape. Now, I'll put the wrist in the neutral position. Okay? I'll ask her, can you match my resistance? This is the concentric contraction, wherein the wrist extensors are contracting in its resting position. And relax. Match my resistance. And relax. Match my resistance. And relax. Hold it right there. Don't flex your wrist. Put it in the neutral position. Just hold it right there. Yep, your guess is as good as mine. I'm going to tape that again with the forearm extensors in the resting position and create a deeper fold. Slightly deeper fold. And then put this on. Alright? And then, in this position, what will I do? I'm going to do the ROM again. This is not a simple ROM. During the time that I'm doing this, I'm trying to feel whether her muscles are giving way. For a manual physiotherapist, we're into the world of manual PT. You're actually feeling for any roughness in the movement. Since she doesn't have any pathology, it's a smooth ride. Alright? And 3. Now, the third point is with the wrist fully flexed. We call this the isoeccentric contraction. Why isoeccentric?
It's stretched.
The muscle is is contracting in what position? Lengthened position. Look at this. I'll ask Russell to match my resistance. So she's practically doing an isometric wrist extension. And relax. Can you do that again? And relax. Can you do that again? And relax. That's the third one. Elbow is still in extended position. Hold that position for me. Keep it flexed. Keep that thing flexed. Fold it. Create a fold over that side. And tape it. And then do the ROM exercise again. 1, 2, and 3. And then ask the patient to breathe. More often than not, the patient's pain will decrease. That's a simple concept. Really simple. Alright? How many strips of tape? Strips